From around 15 years old when I moved out, which was just after sexual assault. I had to go through a whole trial and that whole court process, but you could imagine at that young age, it really messed me up, and I left home. I then spent the next few years really truly a mess, and I didn't know how to receive help, and I didn't know how to ask for help, and to be quite frank, I just wanted to be fine. So I chose to be fine. What that led me to was a series of really unhealthy, toxic relationships, which then led me to two very abusive relationships. One was physically abusive, left me on the street, almost died. And then the second one that I thought saved me from the last one locked me up in a room for hours and hours on end, every single day. But I don't think I ever would have made it to therapy after that if it weren't for a movement practice. And so when I fled with the help of my father, I was really resistant to starting a process of healing. So it was him who said, okay, well, I know this really great practice that I really like, and it's a yoga practice, and why don't you come to a class with me? And you don't have to talk. But maybe the thing right now that you need to find a way back to is this sense of owning and having ownership over my own body, because it definitely was not mine for a bit. I went to that first class, and I will never forget how impactful it was, because I think it was the first time that I had actually felt my body in this sort of sensory way that wasn't just how to protect myself or the anticipation of abuse or recovering from abuse. It was just me in my body. It was just me moving. What that ended up opening a door to was this path of reclamation, more than healing. All the things that were stolen from me, the dignity that was taken from me, and the autonomy and the choice that I should be able to have the rights over my own physical body, it felt like, oh, I need to take this back. It was because of a movement practice that reminded me actually that I am not an object. I am this living human being that is allowed to exist and feel, not just by someone else's terms. It was from that one class, really quite truly, that I kept going, and the more that I was able to reclaim for myself, I started to have a bit more willingness and courage to now talk about what had happened to me. And so then I started seeking out other resources. And anytime it got to be too much, even to this day, when it feels like too much to put words to, I can come back to my body. And she is a safe place. And that's what a movement practice gave back to me.
Since we're in the garage, why not show you my climbing wall as well? It's only about 15 degrees overhanging, as you can see from the side. And but still quite steep. Makes for good training, good climbing, works well. Oh yeah, got a little mirror in our entranceway now so we can see ourselves before we leave. Bye. I've been climbing for, I would say, 33 years. I always had this dream of being an Olympian, and I was just trying to figure out which sport best suited me. And I soon realized that very few sports suited me. And then I discovered climbing. It's always an adventure, basically, and it's always changing. And I was really bad. I had terrible movement skills. I would be scraped from top to bottom. I would lose skin, I'd be bleeding. Sometimes the things that you're really bad at, it makes you want to get better at them. So I was just so committed to getting better at it. It's like this puzzle, and there's an element of strength and difficulty. Just the combination of the two make it really addicting. It's like you have to figure it out. When it's really going well, like you're just in the zone. There's nothing other than you and the rock and this like window of 5 or 6 feet around you. It doesn't matter if you're 1,000 feet off the ground or only like 5 feet off the ground. It's the same experience. You're just in the process of trying to figure out the most efficient way to get to the top. It's very self-expressive for me, and I think that's one of the reasons why I excelled at it. Climbing has actually helped me discover my transitioning, and I'm learning how to be authentically myself now through climbing. My journey transitioning has been ongoing for a very long time, probably to the point where I wasn't even aware of what was happening. I'd always be this chameleon that would sort of fit in with others around me. And I never had the experience, or it didn't feel that way at least, where I had the real feeling that I could just be myself. I didn't even know what that was, I think, to the fullest extent. I reached a point where I was like, from one day to the next, went from no one is ever gonna know that I wanna be a certain way, that I'm gonna present as female, to just like flicking a switch where I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And I'm just gonna show up how I wanna show up, and I'm gonna be that way every day. And I'm not gonna worry about what other people think. I'm just gonna be myself. I don't know, as humans, I think we try to protect ourselves. And I know that that's what was going on for me previously, is like trying to adapt to every situation without having that a concern that I need to protect myself. I get to experience life fully. You know, true joy and happiness comes from really putting myself out there. I am still learning how to be authentically a woman. And that's not easy starting at the age of like 50, 51 years old. I've been male my whole life and conditioned to be a certain way. So now I'm trying to open my mind and just be uniquely, genuinely myself. I can take those movement skills that I have from climbing. You know, there's a gracefulness as well to it. It's not just powerful movement. There's a lot of like movement that's almost more like dance, and transfer them into my femininity. I think just movement itself is therapeutic. But I gotta say, there is that element, like when I'm climbing, God, there's so much joy. It's so expressive. There's a purity of it that has to exist because climbing is just difficult. So there's no faking it. You just have to move freely and fluidly, one with the rock. If I'm trying something that's at my limit, I can't be up there thinking about whatever else is going on. It requires so much concentration that inadvertently just, you know, everything else does melt away. Competitive climbing, you've got this challenge that you've never seen before, that you've got 5 minutes to try to get to the top, and it's like right there in front of your face. I'm just so confronted by my own reality in that moment that I can choose like how to approach it. My choice is always going to be to give it everything I've got. I mean, I got one life to live. Why wouldn't I have it any other way? Maybe all these questions come down to the one thing. It's like, I just want to live life fully. I want to have a lot of fun. I want to enjoy myself in the process and feel like I'm owning the life that I've been given. So, this is it.
No matter what, I think that we all need some kind of movement in our lives. Any kind of movement practice that allows you to get back into your body is so key to this reclamation of self, and also getting a bit more honest with self. You know, when we start to understand who we are better, I think that we do better in the world around us. And I don't think we get there if we live outside of our bodies. I think we have to live inside the home that is with us every day. Here, I'm always given a chance. This is the first person I can practice compassion with. This is the first person I can practice honesty with. This is the first person I can rebuild trust with, and then accountability with that trust. Those are all qualities and things that if I know how to do that with me, I can do that with another person. But if this is broken, then this is broken. Movement is the first piece, but certainly, if not the first piece, a piece and a key piece of taking care of home. And home is you.